Hello, and welcome to the latest episode of the Alpha Shift podcast. I'm David Kruger.
And I'm Don Kovalevsky.
And we are here to bring you another hour of some wonderful insight and fun. We're going to be talking about, as you know, with this podcast and with this mission we're building better men. We're creating a community and a space where men can come and listen and get feedback with us and talk about what it is to be a man in today's world. We are also a space for women. A lot of women have been interested in the work that the Alpha Shift is doing. They have a vested interest also in better men existing in the world. And so what we're doing here is, we think is a pretty important mission. And tonight what we want to do is we want to start to show you the dichotomies that exist in the perceptions of men and women. We're going to talk about the nice guy, bad boy paradox and what it is to be a good guy. And we're going to talk a little bit about how women kind of get caught in the crossfire of all that and how they're kind of dealing with all of that. Do you have any insights, Don, as we get started?
Well, we talked about the bad boy, the nice guy.
Yes.
Nice guys always finish last. And,
Yes.
We were talking a little bit this afternoon about, I don't believe that everybody fits into each one of those buckets. So
No,
we'll talk a little bit about that. And we'll play a little game with our listeners. They can call in.
Yes.
No, they can't. It's a podcast. But if they could, we could call in and talk about some celebrities and see where they fit on the...
We can do that in the future with the calling in.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, ad hoc, you and I can fill some of that in. We can talk about where some celebrities fit into that because they certainly do. It was funny. Last week I talked to you a little bit about numerology and how Glynis McCants, she outlined certain celebrity relationships and where they fit. We can do the same thing with a nice guy, bad boy,
right,
good man, paradox, because it's actually very, very prevalent.
So what was the book you mentioned that was all about this?
It's called Love by the Numbers by Glynis McCants.
Right, Love by the Numbers was last week, and we
Yep.
talked about hexagramanology.
Yes.
That was something we were going to do.
Yep.
We talked about, just taking care of yourself, taking care of your mind, spirit, your body.
Yes.
And then when you do that outwardly, you're going to become the best version of yourself. Which
is what you need to do anyway. Let me tell you
Right.
something. I am at a place in my life. I've been in and out of a few relationships, and I see it now so clearly. My key mission is to become the best version of myself before I go getting into another relationship. Being the Alpha Shift guy, it's like there's this pressure. Should I be telling my email subscribers about my latest conquests and all my girlfriends? I'm like, wait a minute, no.
Right. Well, that's what we talked about, the right way, the wrong way. You're going to fix yourself before you even get into it. So you're going to go out there into the world like the perfect version of Dave.
Or at least what I feel is good enough.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Where I'm like on course with my mission in life. Because you could argue there's no such thing as perfect.
Right.
But
that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
That I certainly didn't boldly go into the world as
Yeah.
the perfect version of myself. And I've been evolving, growing, changing.
Yes.
We talked about that. And the 19-year-old version of me is so far different than the 46-year-old version of me.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a good thing. And it's the same with you.
Mm-hmm.
And, I get to say, we're never going to be perfect.
No.
And that's a theme that that's what should be your mission every day. A little bit better than the day before. And it's a method. There's a whole book talking about this. It's like every day
so many
you
books
make little. I know there's many books. Every day you make a little improvement. I started something at the beginning of the year.
What is that called? That's Kaizen. That's a Japanese concept.
That's it.
Kaizen.
Yes.
1% improvement every day.
I'll just throw things out there.
Yes, and I'll figure it out. Yes.
What the book is.
Kaizen.
Kaizen. Yes.
And then 1% improvement every day. And it really is true. Eventually you will get to a place where you're pretty darn happy with yourself. And you know that you're better than you used to be, and you're confident to move forward. Your life mission is, because for a man, you need to know where you're going in life and what your purpose is, because that's going to be attractive.
Right.
That's going to be, women don't want a guy who's sitting on the couch and not doing anything, and that's just, they're naturally attracted to a guy who's got purpose and kind of something that she can kind of get behind and cheerlead him on.
Yep.
And it may sound a little old fashioned, but that really is how it is. It doesn't take away from her. But that's just what's going to be attractive. And when you lose your way, as I have done in the past, they just kind of find you less interesting. They don't necessarily know why. They think there's something. I've had women think that she thinks there's something wrong with her.
Yeah.
It's like she's not responding the same way. She thinks it's her, and God bless her. I'm so glad you took that on you. It wasn't you. It was me.
Right.
She had her own stuff, but it's like it really when you do that, when you kind of get settled for, and you just you're sitting home with her every night. You're not really focusing on where you're going in life. You do lose your way. So yes, I have realized I have got to get down and dirty with the mission.
Yep.
Focus on building up the business and the purpose in life, and it's great. Life is cooperating. Some of my clients are like downsizing, and so like the old day job is slowly going away, and the business has to like pick up, and so it's like I am like really in the trenches. This is good. This is like getting to sleep at night is a challenge. So
well, if it's a challenge because of all the things you have to do, like your to-do list is just never ending, and you're being productive every single day. That is what makes it hard to sleep, because you can't wait for the next day to begin. I feel bad for the people that can't get to sleep because they're dreading the next day to begin. Yeah. And it's a lot how you approach each and every day.
It's true.
And they're not all easy. I'm not saying like every day, like today, I'm going to learn how to do close-up magic. And then tomorrow I'm going to learn how to tie a tie a different way. But those are little things that you could do, kind of a sense of accomplishment. But it's the purpose. Like you've got this job, you've got the alpha shift, you've got some of the coaching and clients, and so you keep adding these things to your list.
Yeah,
and that is why you're excited for the next day to begin.
Yes, and sometimes I simply haven't resolved the previous day. I still got so much noise from the day I haven't properly gone through a procedure of kind of closing down and having maybe I should really do that. Have a quiet meditation, review what went well, what didn't go well, and kind of do a quiet down. And I've always had such a noisy mind. I just don't do that. I'm like, okay, I'm exhausted now. I'm gonna go to sleep.
Right.
And so just kind of a wind down procedure. You did mention something, and before we go into the first article, I want to ask you a favor, Don. I have a good friend. He's actually in Germany. I'm going to see him in a month, and he kind of called me out on not being able to tie a very good tie knot.
Okay.
Yeah, my half Windsor looked like shit. And so he's like showing me how to do it the right way, and I couldn't do it his way. How can I learn how to tie a half Windsor? Because I tried on YouTube, and I was like the next morning, and I couldn't make it happen.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna have to do it over your shoulder in the mirror and show you.
Oh, okay. That's just wow.
Right.
Yeah, because it is not easy.
Right.
There's
the four in hand.
How long did it take you to learn? I mean, why can I not get this on the first
guess
try?
I will say that was one of the benefits of the few years I spent at Catholic school is that you had to learn to tie a tie.
Okay.
And my grandfather wore a tie every time I saw him, so I know the four-in-hand knot. I think the Windsor, the reverse Windsor.
I did like a crappy version of a full Windsor. It looked like shit. Okay. And so he comes up to me. He came up. I was like we were in the hotel, and I'm like in the buffet line, getting an omelet, and he comes walking right up to me. He gets really close, and he's like, "Hey, buddy, what's up? We have to talk about your tie knot. It's shit. Look at this." I'm like, "Well, good morning to you too." Germans are very frank, and they get right down to business. And he's like, "I will show you how to do it." And like the next day, he like pulls me aside, he's like, "Pull this off your neck."
A good triangle with a little dimple,
and he's like doing it on his neck, not even looking at what he's doing, looking at me like it's nothing to him.
Yep.
And then the next morning, I'm like, I'm going to show him, and I couldn't do it.
All right. Well, we'll work on that. Okay. The next episode of the podcast. And in the show notes,
maybe we can actually do. I'll bring the tie in, and we can do it.
That's perfect.
That might be like a lesson.
There we go.
Like
Kaizen.
Kaizen.
One new improvement every day.
Because I can't get on that plane if I can't tie half one.
You got it.
No, I can't do it. It's at the end of October. I can't do it. So
okay.
So anyway, nice guys, bad boys, women feeling safe. Should we start with our first article?
Okay. You want to read yours? You want to go with mine?
Let's go with yours.
All right. So mine, I brought this last week, and this has been haunting me. I have two daughters of my own, and it doesn't even matter. I just think of all the people in the world. So you may have seen this in the news. With our news cycle, it tends to get buried. But what it says is they surveyed more than 13,000 women between the ages of 18 and 45. And approximately 1 in 16 women, about 6%, reported that their first sexual encounter was not consensual. So it was forced. Of the women who said their first encounter was not consensual, 56% they were verbally pressured into having sex, and 25% said they were subject to violence. Mm-hmm. So this indicates, I mean, and then the problems it leads to, that they report issues with ovulation, menstruation, unwanted first pregnancy, drug abuse. It's horrible.
Yeah.
You know, so I think about this, and I think about
well, and you have daughters, so of course,
right?
I mean,
Well,
a father is always going to be haunted.
If you have sisters, if you
Yes,
have a mom,
yes.
if you just think of all the women in your life. You get 20 of them, all your girl cousins and some coworkers. You put 20 in a room, and someone in there is very likely, according to the study, living with a secret.
Yeah.
And it breaks my heart.
Mhm.
And I think it leads right into the bad boy, nice guy. Can you really be a nice guy? Is that really what women want? And,
Right.
We talk about that.
Yes.
And I actually broke it down a little bit further, on this page here.
Okay.
I think we were talking about this. There's bad boy. Okay. So 50 Shades of Grey led us to believe, with the success of the books and the movies, that not everyone is as uptight and conservative as they lead on.
Right.
Okay. So they like the bad guy. Then there's the nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's the good guy.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's the great guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then way down on the other end, there's the asshole.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is the one that's just rude.
Mm-hmm.
Rude to waiters and waitresses, rude to the person checking you out. They're just an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
And, so that's the definition. Okay,
Sure.
where do these people fall in?
Where do these people fall in? Well, first of all, I would say, just to touch on the 50 Shades of Grey thing, and that was written by a woman, all those books. And I think that what that really touches on, because it's not really reality. That touch, I mean, yes, people are into kink and stuff like that. But someone like Christian Grey, who is basically a sociopath, I mean, as he's predicted in the book, what it shows is women's sexual, it gives you a look into women's sexual fantasies, in that, they do crave strength and dominance, and they don't actually want to be raped or violated, but it's like what's in those books, but they do kind of crave that strength. And so that's, I think, very confusing for men. And we, in terms of women who, like 1 in 16 who experience, they're either verbally, I think verbal, like, coercion is probably more common even than that.
Well, it's at 56%.
Yeah, probably even more common than is reported. I mean, it's
Correct.
but these are just women who are coming back on a survey and saying, yeah, I was forced. I mean,
Right.
It might be more than that. And we have a pretty sexualized society. First of all, we hinge a lot of our self-worth on who wants to have sex with us. And young boys are getting that message, I think, from a very young age. Yep. That's where you get validation. And who was I just listening to? I was listening to an interview. A friend of mine has a tribe of men, and he does an interview every month. And he just did an interview with a 19-year-old girl who was a sugar baby, and she was an exotic dancer, and she talked about some of her early sexual experiences, and about how, in high school, she's 20 years old, and she's an exotic dancer, just bought 3 houses, paying cash, and exotic dancers do pretty well. But she talked about being 16 years old and the pressure to have sex, and how, like, even her friends were like, "You haven't had sex yet? You're still a virgin." And so it's unbelievable, the socialization, I think, the kids that we go through from a young age.
Right.
And it's I think, probably more intense now than it's ever been. And so, that's really a concern, and it's something to keep in mind. That's where these kids come from. That's where we all kind of come from, because I'm going to talk a little bit about the nice guy and the bad boy. And you and I talked about this on the phone earlier today. And the nice guy, as it's often used in the media and the internet as a negative. The nice guys finish last, nice guys suck, nice guy.
They're a pushover.
They're
They get walked all over.
Get walked all over, and they're useless. Well, let me tell you, a nice guy, as is described in the negative, usually goes back to a book by Robert Glover, Dr. Robert Glover. He's a psychologist, and he published a book around 15 years ago. It's called No More Mr. Nice Guy. And it was based on several years in his practice of dealing with men, and how they, would often give to get. They would be passive aggressive. They would create what Dr. Glover called covert contracts, meaning, I will be a nice guy. I will take care of you. I will take out the trash. I will do all of these things. And, well, all without talking about it, you are going to give me your approval, and you are going to want to have sex with me, and you are going to be emotionally available to me at all times, even if I'm not emotionally available to you. And this is all going on, without being talked about, and it's energetic and it's repulsive to women. And so now
was he writing this as a how-to book?
It's how to get over that.
How to get over it.
How to get over that. He chronicles many of his case studies, many of his clients, and many of his group meetings, and he takes you through like, this is what Jim went through, this is what Jerry went through. So it's got a lot of like case studies, and talks about like the different stages of, nice guys are usually like they have a dominant mother who like kind of runs their lives. And so, and it's become a very, very prominent thing, especially a few generations into feminism. A lot of men are raised by single mothers. Mother was the dominant parent. I fall into that category. And so, that creates a very different dynamic. And I think that might fall into a little bit some of these women who are experiencing, men who are being a little pushy and a little needy sexually.
Okay.
I think that, this is just this. I think that in a lot of cases it hurt people hurting people. I think that these men are like, in their codependent need or pressuring women for sex and putting them in a comfortable position.
Right.
Exactly.
They're not the bad boy like I would define it. The bad boy is mischievous.
Yes, and you know what? The bad boy
he's funny, and he's flirty.
He's like the nice guy with charm,
right?
Because he's got a lot of the same issues,
right?
He's a mama's boy. He's definitely got emotional issues, and this young lady who I heard the interview with the other day, was trying to get over a bad boy boyfriend, but she couldn't get over the hot sex.
Okay,
it's because he's got that fire, and she dated right after this guy, a nice guy, and who was everything that a girl would want. And listening to her articulate what I already know was just blowing my mind. About how he does everything right, and he's nice to my mother, and he's polite, and he does, but he's just lame, and he's not creative in bed, and he doesn't have that fire, and so she ends up after a while taking phone calls from the bad boy ex-boyfriend, and getting together periodically. She knows she doesn't want to ever be with him, and that he's like a piece of dung,
right?
But it's almost like an addiction, like a drug addiction. And she said, wouldn't it be great if you could have both in the same package? If you could have that good guy, but who had that fire about him and that confidence. And so what I want to create is because most of us are like coming from the nice guy place. I'm coming from the nice guy place. I've connected with a lot of guys through the Alpha Shift who are coming from that, being a bit of a nice guy place. What if we could become fully integrated, self-actualized, powerful men who own our sexuality, own our masculinity? We can still be a good guy. We don't have to disown who we are. Know where we come from, and just kind of show up and be present, right? And in our relationships, and be honest, and be someone that she can trust, and be into, be that thing.
Right. Well, that's you said the trust and the safety and the protection.
They need that too to be able to open up.
Right. But it's not necessarily like that. You need to look like the Rock.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No.
It can be just that they can be open and honest in front of you, and they know they won't be judged.
Yes.
And I think that's a hard place for couples to get to, where I really can trust. I can, cry in front of this person about this, or I can tell them about this horrible thing in my past that every once in a while it just comes to my consciousness, and it takes me out of whatever I'm doing, and I can't get over it. And that's where the safety is, that I can tell this person anything, and vice versa.
The huge mistake that a lot of men have made, and I used to, this I figured out, about in my last relationship, I had this pretty well. A lot of guys, they really try to fix it. It's like she'll start, talking about what's bothering her, or the latest, she had a fight with her sister, or she's having a problem at work, or this is stressing her out, and he'll start telling her what to do to fix it.
Right.
Don't do that. Do not fix anything.
Of course, I never.
No, you've never done that with Kathy.
No,
it's a good thing we don't have the call-in lines going. Kathy be blowing the phone up right now, like, are you kidding me?
But she'll be like, should I listen to it? No, don't listen. Don't listen. It would skip by the 19th minute.
My ex-wife, though, I used to fix her all the time. And if you're listening to this, or if you ever hear this, I'm sorry. I was doing the best I could at the time. Yeah, don't ever fix her. You just got to be that space that she can just kind of unload on. And then you know where to like draw the line. If she's just negatively bitching, then you can say, okay, you know what, I've had enough of this. You're just kind of unloading. I'm going to go to the gym, or I'm going to go do this, and you just work.
Right.
There comes a point where enough is enough. But a lot of times women just need you to listen, and they just And another thing I would add too, and I wrote about this in several of my newsletters, is that you can't be depending on her for your happiness and your self-validation. You have to be self-validated, and she has to know. You don't necessarily tell her this, honey, I'm happy whatever you do, but she just needs to know that your happiness isn't dependent on what she does or does not do. That you're good, that you're going to be doing your thing in life, and that you are fully approving of her in a space. And because so many times guys are like kind of hung up on what she's doing and kind of codependent in that way. I've done that.
Right.
And so.
But that's where if you get real lucky, you both have, you're individuals.
Yes.
And you have your own individual interests, things that make you happy. And it's not about like, okay, well, I can't do that anymore. Like guys who golf. Guys who golf just because they love golf. They love to be outside. Few hours, they're going to get a couple strokes off their game. Yes. Then, that's just what they love to do. They've loved it since they were a kid. It reminds them of being a kid and golfing with their dad and golfing with their friends, and they're still making friends that way. And they're going to bring their son and daughter into it and golf with them. But if their wife never golfs, it's completely fine.
Yeah, don't discourage him from doing it.
Exactly. But then there are the guys that take it too far, and it's a form of escapism. They golf 5 days a week because that's just how I get out of everything. Like, don't bother me. I'm on the golf course.
And you know what? She knows what you're doing. Right. She knows you're just escaping, and then she's going to grow to resent your hobby. Yeah. Because it's where you go to get away from her.
Right. If you ask Kathy, she knows exactly the things that are my passion points that I love, and they excite me only. And I'm not going to like, I drink coffee. I love coffee. You must also drink coffee, and it must be black and this way, and we must get imported organic beef. Like, my thing. Yeah, it's my thing. I love it. I love to get up early before the whole house wakes up.
Yes.
And I have 2-3 cups of coffee. I'll make one in a French press, and I'll make one, in a pour over. I'll make a Turkish. Like, I will just do, because that's what makes me happy.
That's serious coffee. You're doing the Turkish pour over?
Right. That's a good Saturday morning for me.
I like that.
And vice versa. She has her hobby. And I think it's great. You have to have that individuality.
Yes.
There are those couples that, they wear the matching shirts. They only ever go places together because they don't feel it's right. And if that's good for them, that's great. But it's unusual. It's not the norm.
It is unusual. I would imagine that according to the numerology book, there must be a natural match.
Yeah.
There's a couple I know. I watch them on Facebook, and they're in real estate together. They do everything together. They work out at the gym together. I'm like, I don't know how you guys do this. I mean, it's like unbelievable. They're like a work real estate team. They're doing gym selfies, and they're going to do their cheat meal together. It's all on Instagram and Facebook. And I'm like, oh my God, it's great.
Yeah.
But I've never seen anything like it in my life. And you can't fake that, because if I were, it would have to be the exact right person in the world. Otherwise, I might have to like punch somebody if I was with them that much. It would make me crazy. It would just, I don't know how that would work.
Yep.
I mean, ideally, you just want to make space for it and just accept someone as they are, and it works.
But if those two people find each other,
yes, that's perfect. It's great. I mean, it works for them.
They thrive on codependency.
Yes.
Then that's fantastic.
I hope it's not codependency. I hope they're just a perfect match. But it's just,
that's right. You just mentioned it. You know them.
I know them. I know them.
Don't mention their name.
I know them casually. And they friended me on Facebook, and I just watched their exploits. Because basically they posted mostly about business, and like real estate listings and stuff, and just with a little bit of personality thrown in. And it's always them together. I mean, they're in business together. They spend all their personal time together. I mean, it's doable, but you got to be the right kind of match,
right?
Where you can do that. And me being the personality type, or I just need to kind of recharge my batteries alone, I was like, oh my God, I need some space. I'm like that. My brother's like that. He's so funny. He needs to get away from his girlfriend. I need space. Just leave me alone. And so it's just funny. But let me show you the other end of the spectrum. We've got. And it's not the other end of the spectrum. It's the same side of the spectrum, but it's another side of it. I'm going to show you some. I've got a couple articles I printed about nice guy extremism. So the first one, this is from Khalij Times, from United Arab Emirates, an online newspaper. I just happened to stumble across this, or maybe one of my readers sent it to me. I don't know where I got it. If you sent it to me, I'm sorry if I'm not giving you credit. I don't remember, but
I regret I let my Khalij Times subscription run out.
You let your Khalij Times. This is interesting. And here's the article. Wife in United Arab Emirates seeks divorce because husband loves her a lot and doesn't argue with her. I thought this was a farce at first. I had to go double check it.
Seems
this is
very
article.
Onion-esque.
It does seem Onion-esque, doesn't it? If one argument could save a marriage, this is it. But the fawning husband cooked, cleaned, swept, and loved his wife passionately, completely. She, in turn, felt choked by his affection and now wants to divorce him. There's actually some validity to this. I'll go into it in a minute. The woman sought divorce from her husband at the Sharia court in Fujit something because his love was too much for her to bear. He never yelled at me or turned me down, the woman, a Gulf national, told the court. I was choked by extreme love and affection. He even helped me clean the house. He sometimes cooked for her, and there were no disputes in their year-long marriage. The wife complained that her life turned to hell because the man was so kind to her. I long for a day of dispute, but this seems impossible with my romantic husband who always forgave me and showered me with gifts. Okay, there's not much more to it, but here's what I would say about that.
That is the other extreme of the article that I read.
Yes, it is the other extreme, but if you think about it in terms of the codependent nice guy, what he is doing, what I am seeing here is this guy is going above and beyond to be like the perfect, what he thinks is the perfect husband. He's cooking, cleaning, vacuuming, and what society would say is like the perfect modern evolved husband who like helps the wife with the housework. And what he is doing is he is boxing her into a corner to say, I'm the perfect husband. You need to appreciate me. You need to give me approval. You need to want to have sex with me because I am the perfect husband. Whenever I want. You need to be, you need to, or whatever other kinds of approvals we look for from our wife. You need to want to do what I want to do because I have made life so perfect for you. And she's saying in this article, I just wish we had an argument. I think what she's wishing for, she's wishing she like had an honest voice in the whole thing, and that what I mean. It's like it's not really what it looks like. He's not really being nice.
He brings nothing of himself to that relationship.
That's correct.
In fact, he could. It's like remember that old Wile E. Coyote cartoons when the one sheepdog would punch out. They'd punch in. Mm-hmm. The Wile E. Coyote would punch in because he was the coyote trying to eat the sheep. And the sheepdog would punch in because he was the dog trying to protect the sheep.
Yes, I do remember
that. Every day would be the same, and then one coyote would punch out, one coyote would punch back in.
Yep.
I feel like this guy, if I could just go, and if he needed a break, I could do exactly what he's doing. Because there's no originality. He's bringing nothing there. No. He's not clever. He doesn't have his own hobbies. He's like, I'm going to make her, whatever she wants, I'm going to do that.
Yeah, he's putting her on a pedestal and creeping her the hell
out. That could
out.
Not be more boring.
No.
I can't imagine. I mean, it would be boring to me.
Oh, it's more than boring. It's repulsive. Yeah. It's like driving her away.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so
if my wife all at once was just like, okay, you know what? He's never going to get mad again. He's never going to want for anything again. And we'll never have an argument. I mean, I'd be like, did you get lobotomized? Like, who is this person? This isn't a person anymore. Like this is, there's no spark. Mm-hmm. Got none of her own thing.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? I think women are smarter than that. It's okay. This guy's trying to be perfect. She knows full well that it's not that she's never going to have a problem again. It's just going to explode one day.
Yeah.
If he doesn't feel that he's getting what he should be getting for being perfect, he's going to blow up one day.
That's what I look back on. Our fraternity was always a great. It was a great psychological experiment because it was every type of personality. I mean, if we had 40, 50 guys in the house, there would be a lot of trial and error going on with 19 and 20-year-olds. And I remember guys like this.
Yeah.
They were not being themselves.
Yeah.
They were trying to be that person that they thought every girl in the room would then want.
Yes.
And that's what this guy is doing.
Yeah.
And that is a lesson you can pull a lesson from here and say, okay, so what's the bad boy? The bad boy. What if this guy had a bowling league once a week, and he had to, and maybe once a month he had a few too many beers and had to Uber home? Oh my gosh, he would be the worst guy
The
compared
worst guy.
to his former self.
Yeah.
But he would be himself.
Yeah.
No drinking too much. You made a bad decision, but you Ubered home. So
Yeah.
you're still a good guy.
Yeah.
You didn't do anything irresponsible. I don't know if they in the United Arab Emirates if they have Uber.
I don't know. I think Uber's all over the world now.
But am I following? But so
Yeah.
there's the point. There's the good guy, nice guy extreme.
Yeah, that's the nice guy extreme.
And it's not attractive.
No, it's not attractive at all. The bad boy can be attractive at the beginning. The bad boy, he might have the same kind of upbringing. He might have had, the single mother. He might have dealt with a lot of those same things. But what he does is he kind of puts on his armor and kind of becomes a little bit more self-absorbed. This is like the jerky bad boy.
The horrible guy.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the archetype: the leather jacket, the jackass.
Yeah, well, I had things here like Antonio Brown in the news right now. Are you familiar?
I'm not.
Okay.
Pardon my ignorance.
Charlie Sheen. Everyone knows
Charlie Sheen. Definitely a bad boy.
Is he the horrible boy? I think he's the horrible boy.
Yeah, he's got all the bad boy behavior, but Charlie Sheen, I think, because of his drug problems, delves into the horrible boy place.
Okay.
Because I think he got worse over time. He wasn't so bad when he was young. But he definitely went to the crazy place because he was so drugged out.
Yeah.
But yeah, he goes to horrible. But yeah,
horrible. Tommy Lee, Motley Crue.
Bad boy.
Bad boy.
Bad.
He's still horrible.
Yeah.
He just, like a kid, hasn't grown up, hasn't figured it out. So that's...
But boy, he's a rock star and the chicks dig him. Pamela. But that's what's attractive at the outset. That's what young, hot women who are playing the field are into. That's what kind of gives them the tingle, is that guy who has that. Because what he has is the confidence. What he has is that, so even if it's an imitator, even if it's like he has what looks like confidence because he's like got the armor shield on because he's a rock star in the case of Tommy,
right?
Or just because he has the right behavior. Because like this girl I was listening to the other day, she's like, I can't be with him. I can't be with a guy like that. But she was explaining why he was attractive at the outset, but a girl gets over it after a while.
Okay.
It's like a girl will be attracted to that, especially when she's in a phase where she's young, her attractiveness is at its apex, and she's doing the single social clubbing, and she's in that phase of her life. That's what she's going to be into, is that kind of guy.
Okay.
And they believe me, they grow out of it. After a while, they're like, this is horrible, because they can't deal with his like mercurial moods and his abusiveness, and because bad boys really are bad boys,
right? And
so
they're broken.
Yeah, they're broken. They're broken. They're broken, and bad boys.
And that gets into the whole conversation. Some girls want to fix the bad boys.
Some girls have a very powerful impulse to want to fix.
Yes, and maybe they're not. All of us we want to fix people, but maybe we aren't. Equipped to say that's unfixable.
No, and you know what?
You cannot be unbroken.
And I would
Tommy Lee, Charlie Sheen are two examples. They can't be fixed.
They can't be fixed. They don't want to be fixed. Right. Charlie Sheen's got tiger blood. We need to fix her. I think had a little thing of tiger blood at one point. He was,
of course, you did.
I did. I had
right next to the hexagram.
I had the tiger blood. This was before the hexagrams. This is when I was like, my buddy George and I were going around going winning. And he was like, this is when he got fired from 2 Men in a whatever that show was, and he was like doing his like tour. And it was just, we were just riding the bandwagon because it was hilarious. But then he imploded. It was kind of sad, but
right.
He was just such a spectacle for a while, and I gotta admit, it was hilarious.
I was just thinking, okay, so you're thinking like all girls want that bad boy, or they're inclined.
At some point, not all girls, not necessarily.
I was thinking like, let's say it's like a, the prototypical 1950s. Like a high school dance, like a little sock hop mixer. So there's 100 boys over here, and they're afraid to talk to the girls. There's 100 girls over here, but in theory, they would all match up. So the bad girls and the bad boys would find each other because maybe the 50s
was a little different though, because then of course,
maybe
I got grease running in my head or something, but because you got like the Bobby Sox pretty girl, and the leader of the pack with the leather jacket goes rolling over to her with cigarettes rolled up in his sleeve and asks her to dance.
Right, because he's so dumb.
Yeah,
he doesn't realize that she does not want anything to do with you.
Of course, then again, maybe he goes over to her and she's like, okay, I'll dance with you. And everybody's like, what?
Right, because he just had the confidence.
Because he just had the confidence.
Right.
Yeah, and she doesn't realize she's
a shy boy, great guy, going off to college, just Please,
great athlete, a Letterman jacket.
Yeah, exactly. Sings in the quartet.
Yeah.
He's that guy.
Yeah, he's that guy.
He's too shy to walk up to Olivia Newton-John.
And so he loses out. You have to be confident enough to roll up on Olivia Newton-John without hesitation.
Yep. And I hope that Grease has to be what everyone, I hope in the audience, we don't have to summarize Grease.
Man, yes, it's like the greatest story of all time.
It can be applied also to High School Musical.
Yes, cute blonde Australian girl meets nice American boy on the beach because she's spending a summer in the U.S.
Out of context.
The
greaser.
Yeah, out of context.
Smoker.
Yeah, he's not a greaser on the beach because he's not with his greaser buddies.
Yeah.
But it's by surprise she's going to stay for the school year, and he runs into her. But now he's all greased out with his greaser buddies, and he has to act all cool. And she's like, "Why are you so different?" And then
that's classic bad boy.
It's classic bad boy. She's like, "Oh my god,
he's not really bad.
He's not really bad. He's a good guy." And even his other bad boy friends throughout the course of the movie turn out to not be such bad guys.
Yeah,
Kanicki, with the car and everything, and Rizzo, and I want to go watch Grease now. But yeah, it's like and you see though how. You see a lot of how actually attraction works if you really watch the movie, the way the play and the movie are written.
Right. Well, that's why we all we like shows because if they're really well written,
yes,
then they have hit the archetype.
Yes,
the character.
Yes,
like that's the real bad boy, and then this is the good guy and bad boy clothing.
Yes,
and so on, and we all identify and see ourselves in that, and at the end of the day, we all we want to do good.
Yeah, we do. Yes,
and it's easy to just be bad.
Yeah,
you don't. It's easy to
believe
just
me.
Eat junk food.
It's easy to get cynical.
Right.
It's easy to think that you need to be a jerk to be attractive. It's easy to go to that place. I know a lot of guys like that. There's a big movement online. The red pill. It's a lot of the guys who used to do pickup and dating attraction and stuff. Now it's like the red pill community, and it's all about how the way women really work, and this is the way you got to be. And I'm all about studying red pill. That's what they call it. Using the Matrix as like
okay.
It's like like the metaphor from the Matrix.
You're gonna wake
where Morpheus gives Neo the choice. You can take the red pill and know the truth, or you can take the blue pill and go back to your silly little reality that's all a lie.
Okay.
And so that's the terminology that they use. And red pill awareness, they call it, is that, women really are always looking for the best deal they're going to get in terms of men they're going to marry, and this is the way it. And there is some truth in it, but what they do, it's very Newtonian thinking, and it's very black and white, and it makes it's very depressing. I sometimes go on these Reddit forums, and these 20-year-old guys will go on there, and they're like, I want to kill myself. Life sucks. I don't want to, and it's like, oh my god, this is terrible. Don't read this shit. And it's like they would call me purple pill or blue pill, or because I don't necessarily subscribe to their theory of thought.
Wow.
But then there's MGTOW. MGTOW is
the Internet of Things.
The Internet of Things, because now all these people with these different neurosis can get together and reaffirm each other.
Right.
And so.
So the red pill group can get together and be like, okay, well,
most of them are online talking to each other.
They're talking to each other. Yeah. We've got to figure it out, and that's it.
Yes.
So anybody outside of our group, they're wrong color pill. They're not doing it right.
And a lot of these guys go on these red pill forums, and they realize that they've been so blue pill, and so they start changing their behavior with their wife, and now their wife thinks he's a dick, and because they're trying to forcibly change years of behavior, and they're trying to get it's disastrous. And so but it all calls to there is a need here. People need to get right with themselves.
And what was the other site you were?
MGTOW is called. And men go. Everybody's got men. That's men. Everybody's got their acronyms. MGTOW is men going their own way. This is a growing movement of men who are now eschewing relationships with women. Period. If you're MGTOW, it means you will not date, you will not marry. You're done. You're drinking a beer on the back porch.
What's the name of MGTOW?
Men going their own way. Okay. Yeah, it's a thing, and they've even got a symbol. You can wear a ring. It's I can't even.
Here's a homework assignment for us. We have to make Alpha an acronym for something.
Ooh.
Yeah, we're not gonna do it right now.
All right.
It's gonna brainstorm, but there's
I like that.
Mm-hmm. P could be paternal.
Yeah, I picked it. I picked it because we
Alpha, the Alpha Omega.
the alpha male, the leader. the leader first of all of himself, and then of his himself, his life, his family, his wife. Ultimately, the idea is that you are the captain and like she's the first officer, and you take care of her, and you make certain decisions, so she doesn't have to. You're not like your boss, you're not married, right? But you are like, it's like being that support, that solid oak. You take care of certain things, and so she doesn't. I remember my mother has been married and divorced 4 times, and she said recently, I was having dinner with her, and she said, "I don't want to take care of a man again." And it was very interesting. I didn't say anything. I didn't have a response to that, but it showed where she was at mentally.
That would be a burden.
Yeah, but you shouldn't feel like you have to take care of a man. The problem is, and I've talked to women about this. I've talked to men about this. We have these women today who are they're alpha females. They are as powerful leaders as any man. They had to get going in business. More women are graduated from college today than men. My mother was an early outlier. She went into business in the restaurants in 1970. And so that was a time when it was kind of new for women to be like kind of running the show.
Okay, yeah.
But she never really needed any of her husbands to like take care of her. She always had things kind of handled. And because of that, I think she kind of attracted men who needed more caretaking. You tend to attract your polarity.
Okay.
That which is polar to you. And so she had husbands that were a lot of fun and a good time, but they were kind of goofballs. They almost kind of would have been that bad boy in high school.
She was the serious one.
Yeah, she was the serious one, and they were like, especially her last 2 husbands. They were definitely, that was the case. She just ended up, it didn't work out. She didn't want to take it because that's, you have to look at what it is you're attracting, and what you are. And so I remember having a conversation with a group of women one time, and they were talking about what they wanted. They were single, 30s, and it was everything you could imagine. 6-pack abs, 6-figure income, just the wish list you can't even imagine.
Right.
And I silenced the room. I said, okay, so think about that guy for a minute, and think about what kind of woman is he going to want? Are you that woman? Are you worthy of him? Silence. And it's like, I said that to and they were like taken aback and didn't really have an answer. I would say that to any woman. I would say that to any man.
I was going to say it goes in reverse.
It does go in reverse.
Like if you were out there like, what is the ideal? What is the ideal woman for you? Have you sketched that out? Have you? I know you've run the numbers. Yeah, but yes. You've met your fair share.
Yes.
Married one, but now you're married and divorced, and then you long-term relationship, and you're out of it now.
Yep.
So you've had some trial and error.
I've had some trial and error.
So the same thing, like you were asking that group of women, like, what's your ideal man? Like it must be. We all have this ideal too. They're going to look like this, and they're going to earn this, and they're going to want.
Yes. It's adjusted a little bit, but yes, I do have an idea of the ideal woman. I'm almost there in terms of being her man. I've got a few things I got to clear up, if I'm being honest.
Well, that's why we're doing the alpha shift.
That's why we're doing the alpha shift. It's like, as much as I really want this to help the listeners, and I want the products and the website to help the readers, this is kind of like my therapy too. So thanks for listening.
We're here for you, Dave.
I appreciate it. This is creating the alpha shift, writing the articles, doing it. It helps me to hammer this stuff in, and I'm really hoping that it's adding value for everyone else. But I need it as much as anyone. They say anyone who gets into a coaching or teaching profession really coaches and teaches what they themselves need to learn. And I believe that.
I believe that.
It's really, the thing that you're.
I think, if you know me, I talk a lot. Mm-hmm. And that's why, I'm here doing a podcast. And I like public speaking.
Perfect.
And people have asked me, hey, would you mind saying a few words at this event or that event? And so I always try to come up with some wisdom. I try to take something that I read in a book, or something I can apply for my own life.
Yes.
But it's when it comes out and it sounds like, so smart. I'm kind of figuring it out as I go anyway. Yeah. And, it's like I didn't figure it out till I wrote it down. Mm-hmm. And you talked about, you talk about a decompression at the end of the day, and just like what a lot of people talk about journaling. So there's a storyteller. His name is Matthew Kelly. He has a podcast called Speak Up. It's fantastic. You want to listen to it. It's about how to tell a story. Ooh. And he is if you know of The Moth, it's a storytelling group. It's based on NPR. And you tell 5-minute true stories. And he teaches you how to construct it, how to have a beginning, a middle, and end, hold people's attention. And then he wrote a book called Storyworthy because, he went up on stage to tell the story on a dare. And he had an amazing story, but it's not just having a good story, because it could be an anecdote. It doesn't go anywhere. But he's able to turn these things into stories, which I think you've heard a couple of mine. So if you want a good book, I think it's much more about telling your own story, learning to kind of construct your life and what you're trying to say. I think his book Storyworthy has a lot more lessons than just tell a 5-minute story. It's a full-length book. And one of the things he suggests, and I'm not stealing this, Matthew Kelly, Speak Up, is homework for life. And we all walk through our days, and something amazing happens. Like if you really look back on your day today, there was something interesting, good conversation. Could be this podcast. Some light went off. He says every day before you go to bed, he makes a spreadsheet, and he just writes the date, and in like a sentence, like maybe 100 words or less, he will just talk about what happened that day. And then it's forever recorded. So for me, like if my kids say something, if one of my kids says something really hilarious, I don't want to forget that moment. But if you don't write that down, it's not a full journal entry. It will be lost forever. And so this are it's like snapshots. And what it allows me to do, it allows me just that piece of going to bed and knowing that day is not lost. I got something out of that day, and it could be, it doesn't always have to be my kids related, but it could just be remembering a story or something that happened to me as a child that I can just write down. For me, one night it was just remembering my grandmother and walks we took, and what she did with pennies. She would just throw pennies on the path, and we were too little to notice that she was doing it. We thought we were just finding pennies, and it was awesome. It was awesome until the day I kind of caught her taking pennies from the jar and then throwing them in the path, and it was our little secret from my younger brother and sister. So that's like that's a whole story in itself, but it's a memory. And so there's another one involved. I meet up with you. I think back to college. I think of the confidence you had and your group of 4. That you called it the 4 horsemen.
Yeah, the 4 horsemen.
They could find the dollar picture night like 7 days a week, and they would chase it out. And you guys were like best friends. And for me, that's a memory I don't want to forget. And there were a lot of funny memories about that when you went out. So I can write that down. Like, that's a good story. I just got to remember that. And then it's in this spreadsheet. It's there forever. And I go to bed with a peace of mind.
I like that. That's a great idea. Really to record, because I'm really working on recording my story, recording other people's stories. And the Alpha Shift really is about the stories of our lives and making. But it's funny, you talked about the 4 horsemen back in the day in the fraternity. That was a time when I was definitely not concerning myself with being that guy that being the perfect guy for women. I was like a dirtball. Oh, such good times.
Almost all 20-year-olds in college are dirtballs.
Yeah.
But we're okay. We start. If you start there, then you have nowhere to go but up.
That's true.
And
okay.
So then that's what life's journey is.
So I am forgiven. I'm forgiven for being a dirtball.
I forgive you. Yes.
Okay. I'm forgiven for my dirtballness back in the day. Okay. We went all over the place.
Yeah.
Storytelling. Good guys. Bad boys. Nice guys. I think it really.
And I brought up the storytelling for a reason, because you were like, you asked these girls, describe
yes.
it. So if you went one step further and like, tell me the story of when you met him.
Yes.
Tell me the story of how he proposed. Who is this guy? Like, what is he gonna do? Now, don't set these ridiculous expectations, because you might say like, oh, he flew me to France, and on the top of the Eiffel Tower, he proposed.
Yeah.
It's like there's like 0.1% the people in the world with even the ability to do that.
You know, there's a great author who I love to read her stuff. I read her blog, I read her book. Her name is Suzanne Venker, and she's a coach for women, and she's like, you know, like the alpha female's guide to men in marriage, and it's really kind of about like, look, you need to take a step back and realize that you might want to act a little more traditionally if you want to have love in marriage, because, you know, the world's pretty messed up today. And she talks about, in one of her recent articles, about how, you know, a lot of women, you know, they say that they want like a man who's like got all this money and who does better than her. And, you know, she's like, you have to realize that like it's like 14% of American men make this income that all these women want, and they're more. And another big thing that women want that it's a little unrealistic, I didn't realize this, is more. They want men over 6 feet tall, which is a very small number of men actually, overall. And so it's like, you know, you gotta like really figure out why your expectations are. Right. And now we're picking on women a little bit. Suzanne Venker coaches women. I would say, you know, if we want to be fair and equanimous, turn around on men, you know, you could put a similar standard. You know, does she really have to be a size 2 and have that perfect ass? Because we all have our list of things we want, and
right.
You know, but what is really important? Is that stuff really important, or is it who she is on the inside? You of course you want someone that you're attracted to, but there's a large variety of women you can be attracted to. She doesn't have to be that perfect size 2 with like
right.
The stereotype that we see on
1985 Christy Brinkley. It doesn't
have to be 1985 Christy
There's
Brinkley.
one of that person.
Or 1988 Demi Moore.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, just but that's actually a relatively small, I think, percentage of women. Right. And what is it that you really truly need? Maybe you need, you know, Christy Brinkley. I don't know. But, you know, take a good look at it. You know, I think sometimes men and women both keep themselves out of the game just by being ridiculous with standards that they've come up with, probably from the media. And, you know, I mean, we just have these crazy notions of what is sexy and sexual.
Listen out, we have the article, the perfect man trying to be the perfect man, and
he's scared her off after less than a year.
Yep.
Yeah.
My disturbing article
about but that also makes a lot of sense about, you know, a lot of, and especially probably younger men. You know, I would these women were talking about their first sexual experience, so we're probably talking about teenagers,
right?
You know, and so and I can really see at that level where, you know, they don't really know how to deal with people yet, you know, and they're getting in there, and you know they've probably got, you know, like if you think young women have pressure, you know, to be sexually active from their friends, imagine what the boys are getting. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like, dude, you're such a wuss. Come on, man, you're the way.
Right. Everyone, you feel like you're the only one.
Yeah,
the only one that didn't, you know, get laid.
You feel like you're the only one, and everyone gets laid, and all women want to have sex right now, and she's just holding out on me, and you know, and that's just bad news, you know. So, the next thing we're gonna have to do, Don, is go to work on the kids, one thing at a time.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I said I got 3, and
yes, and you're full time making sure that they're like good,
right there, guiding, making sure no missteps, and
make sure the boyfriends see your shotgun collection when they come over. Yeah,
no, I need to get that.
We need to get you a shotgun collection. Just so you know, just like when you're just be in your study and just shuck it when the boyfriend comes in, and you know, just.
I got my fair share of Nerf guns.
Yeah,
they're pretty scary.
Yeah. But yeah, you know, it's true if you think about it. It's funny until you think about it being your sister or your daughter or your mother, your cousin, you know, somebody you love. It's like, whoa, wait a minute now.
Yep.
You know, and so I'll end with, you know, a lot of times we say, you know, if your daughter was dating a man like you, would you be happy? Would that make you smile?
It's a great way to look at it.
Yeah, and if not, you better become a better man.
Yep.
You know, and so.
Oh yeah, as dads, that's what, you know. Then you get, like that needs to be the standard. Like,
sure.
Find this.
Yeah, exactly. And I can tell you, me as a once again single man, you know, I don't have a daughter, but I have to like think, okay, if I had a daughter, if I had someone like that I loved unconditionally, and she were dating, would I want her dating someone like that? You know, and I'm like, oh, I'm almost there. I'm getting close, Don. I feel pretty good about myself.
All right.
But I just want to.
Episode 3.
Episode 3 is what Dave needs to be.
Yep. And then episode. How many episodes until we get you there? Well, no. It'll be. Hey, that's our final episode. Dave has reached self-actualization and perfection and he's ready to go out in the world.
I'll be like levitating and meditating.
You'll have your wedding on the air.
Yeah, I'll have my wedding on the air. Yes, perfect.
That's our goal.
Oh, I don't ever want it to end though, Don. Okay, maybe we'll just keep me in perpetual craziness. But anyway, thank you so much, Don. I hope we had a good discussion. I hope that they enjoyed it. I hope you guys liked it. And we will see you again next week. This is Dave Kruger.
Dan Kovaleski.
And we will see you next week. Thanks.